Some players are born to wear the jersey. Their talent is undeniable, their impact immediate. But for others, no matter how hard they fight, how well they perform, or how loud the fans scream, the system quietly shuts the door until something breaks. Evan Roos just got called up to the Springboks, but this wasn't a triumphant, career-defining moment. It came wrapped in silence, a gap left by injury. A slot opened, not earned, but inherited. And behind that bittersweet moment is a deeper story. Not just about Roos, but about every player whose face didn't fit, whose talent was overshadowed by something unspoken, whose dream was delayed, not by skill, but by silence. Roos's return to the Springbok spotlight should have been a celebration. Instead, it felt like a contingency plan. With Cameron Hanekom injured, Roos got the nod. Not as a chosen one, as a replacement, but fans of the Stormers knew better. They'd watched him dominate, week after week. Roos wasn't just playing well, he was electric. Explosive carries, hard-hitting defence, and raw power. If there was ever a player forcing his way into the squad by sheer performance, it was him, so why did it take so long? In the Springboks documentary Chasing the Sun, Rassie Erasmus said something that now echoes louder than ever. It's not about picking the best player, it's about picking the right player. That sentence explains a lot and raises even more questions, because if Roos wasn't the right player until now, what changed? His stats didn't suddenly spike. His athleticism didn't emerge overnight. The only thing that changed was circumstance. Hanekom's injury forced a choice, but the deeper issue remains. In South African rugby, being the best player doesn't guarantee you a jersey. Behind closed doors, whispers swirled. Roos was too intense, too vocal, too much. Some said he didn't fit the mould. Others hinted at personality clashes with coaching staff. Maybe it was attitude, maybe ego, maybe something else entirely. To his credit, Rassie Erasmus has never shied away from difficult players. He even admitted he wouldn't have picked himself as a teammate. But that transparency only makes Roos's exclusion more confusing, because if Rassie once built a team around outsiders and misfits, why not Roos? The answer might lie in something even harder to define than skill, culture, chemistry, control. For a long time, Roos was his own worst enemy on the pitch. Desperate to prove himself, he overplayed. High-risk offloads, silly penalties, moments of brilliance overshadowed by flashes of recklessness. He played like a man chasing approval, and the system punished him for it. But this season, everything changed. Roos became a system man, still aggressive, still powerful, but patient, strategic, a team player. He stopped trying to be the solo highlight reel and started fitting into the Springbok blueprint. And maybe that's all it took. Not more muscle, not more meters, just a little less me. But Roos isn't alone. Rugby, like many sports, has a long, painful history of rejecting talent for intangible reasons. Remember Danny Cipriani, one of the most gifted fly halves England has ever produced. Razor-sharp mind, flair for the dramatic, and yet his international career fizzled before it ever truly started. Coaches couldn't trust him, or wouldn't. Then there's Stefan Armitage, the European Player of the Year, a monster at the breakdown. But because he played his club rugby in France, he became ineligible for England. Talent dismissed on principle. These weren't just missed opportunities, they were statements. Sometimes it's not about what you do on the field, it's about whether they want you in the room. But every now and then, the overlooked get their shot and never give it back. Look at Ben Earl. For years he was ignored, seen as too flashy, not traditional enough. Then injuries hit the England camp and suddenly Earl was thrust into the starting lineup and he exploded. Not just surviving, thriving. Within months he became England's best back row option, one of the top 8s in the world. Sometimes all it takes is one game, one injury, one door left ajar, and the story flips forever. Which brings us back to Hanekom. His injury opened the door for Roos, but it's not the end of his story, not even close. At just 25, Hanekom has the tools to be a Springbok legend. Vision, pace, composure beyond his years. His breakout was already underway. This is just a pause, and in a way this injury could be a blessing in disguise, a reset, a moment to rest, refocus, and return with fire. Because in rugby, you don't get forgotten overnight. especially not when your ceiling is sky high. But here's the catch, only one of them can start. Roos and Hanekom are both future stars, but Springbok Rugby doesn't play favourites. It plays winners, and the number 8 jersey won't be shared. This could become a rivalry that defines a generation, like Vermeulen versus Alberts, like Coetzee versus Whiteley. But with even more on the line, what matters now isn't who deserves it more, it's who wants it more, and who makes it impossible to be left out. Maybe Evan Roos wasn't the right player before. Maybe his face didn't fit. But if there's one thing rugby teaches us, it's that you can't hold greatness back forever. Eventually, performance becomes undeniable. Character matures. The game shifts. And suddenly the door that was once locked opens on its own. And when it does, the players they tried to ignore, they don't just fit in, they take over.